Hello everybody and welcome to our final MXGP TV studio show of 2015. This is the 69th edition of the Monster Energy FIM Motocross of Nations. We are live today. Alongside me is Jeff Emig. He needs no introduction. My guests today are also, well, one of them's here in place. Todd Waters is up first from Team Australia. Jeremy Martin from Team USA. We will also have Max Anstie for Great Britain and Tim Geiser, the newly crowned MX2 World Champion. But as I said a moment ago, beautiful skies here, a great crowd, a great atmosphere already. And Jeff, before we come and speak to Todd, it really is starting to feel like the Motocross of Nations, the biggest event in the world now, isn't it?
It is incredible that on Saturday morning, more than 24 hours away from the start of the first moto, that the atmosphere is as electrifying as it is. I mean, the crowd, especially when the French riders, who are the reigning champions, when they go out on the track, the whole hillside of fans behind us, they're absolutely going mad, and this is the day before the race.
Yeah, well, we left the circuit last night, Jeff and I, and around about 10:30, something like that, and there must have been a queue of about 5-6 kilometers of traffic trying to get in from the right side through Ernée and out the left side from elsewhere, and it was just pandemonium. But we came in this morning, no problems. Everybody's in, and like I said, the atmosphere has been nothing but electric. But let's welcome our first guest then, Todd Waters, Team Australia.
Good to see you.
Yeah,
good. Congratulations on being chosen for the team.
Yeah, it's definitely an honor. You know, I'm excited to be here, and the weather's great, track's awesome, the fans are going nuts. I was following Paul Arn around in practice, and I could hardly hear my bike. So that's when you know that you're at the Nations. You know, the crowd are just going mental. It's nice to see.
And what about you? Because obviously it's your second Nations. You missed it last year due to injury, but the first one in Germany, 2013, kind of put you on the map, didn't it? Whatever you'd done in Australia before that kind of helped you. Well, you got the ride, obviously, and then what you did at the Nations, great qualifying race. We have some footage from that. But the atmosphere there, a different kind of race to what you have at home. First of all, you know, your first experience, what was that like in Germany?
And looking back on that race, the first thing I remember is sitting on the start line, the crowd going mental, and some guy doing a nude run up the start line. So that's something special, you know. You don't see that very often. But
yeah, we're taking a look at it right here. So, I mean, this event here this weekend, the layout of the track and the hillside being in a valley, resembles this race in Germany quite a bit, you know, and the amount of fans that are really pushed into one spot. But with this start here like this, I mean, what's that like with you know, the crowd cheering that much and that they're that close to you?
Yeah, it's really special. And the thing that I like about this start is it's quite even. It's Teutschenthal was, you know, it favoured the inside gate. But this start, I think it's going to be quite even. We're going to see some really good racing. And, you know, let's show something for the fans. I'm looking forward to it. We've got nice jumps, good weather, so it's going to be great.
And that race there kind of put you on the map, as I said, got you a ride at Red Bull Husqvarna Factory Racing. How important is a race like this to you coming from Australia? Because in the answer, I'm kind of expecting Jay Wilson, for instance, who was the original MX2 guy for you, for Team Australia, got hurt this week, didn't he? And,
yes.
And Luke Clout literally drafted in at the last minute, was on a plane Wednesday, got here late Thursday night. So for someone like Jay, for instance, what would it have meant to him to be here? Because you've been in that situation before yourself.
Yes, it's a massive opportunity because we're so far away in Australia. We're doing our own thing. And to get over here, it's just, you don't just jump on a plane and ride. You got to have a bike and so on. So for Jay, he had that opportunity. And I know that he wants to come over here and race in the GP season. So, you know, I'm very disappointed for Jay. But, you know, he's riding really well. He's got Josh Coppins backing him. Josh has been here for many years, so he's got good people around him, and I don't think we'll see the last of Jay. I think he'll be back, and I'm excited to watch his career.
Yeah, and I was down there after Luke came in, after his MX2 practice. It was good to see those two who are fierce rivals on the track, going for the championship, both of them. And like any rivalries, you know, you can ask the question, are they friends off the track? Do they get on, yes or no? And it was good to see the two of them communicating with other members of the team, mechanics, that kind of thing. And, you know, and obviously puts to bed any doubts that anybody would have had in terms of them maybe being able to work together.
Yeah, look, I think Luke's a great person to fill the spot because he raced last year. He did very well at the Nations. So he's proven that he can step up to big races. He can handle the crowd. So, you know, that's something that's really important, and he showed in practice he rode well. So I think in the qualifying, you know, as a team, if we just keep our head and just try and ride smooth and do some solid laps, I think we should be good.
Expectations for the team?
Expectations, you know, for me it's a tough thing because I just like to ride the best that I can, and I don't like to just say, oh yeah, put a number out there
but there kind of is, you know, every team kind of has that over-under.
Yeah.
If we're here, we're going to be happy. If we're not, you know, if we're, you know, under that, we might leave a bit disappointed.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, because it's not just an individual race. I mean, you have your individual race, but this is the one time a year where the team actually matters.
Yeah.
Right?
And, well, to look at it, Dean and myself, we've got top 10 finishes in the GPs. We've had top 5s. So we're expecting to try and do good races individually.
Sure.
And we'd like to be in that top 10, you know, battling top 5 position. And as a team, you know, everybody wants a podium. That's where.
Well, you start to rack up some hardware that way. You leave with something, right? So.
And talking of podiums, you got your first podium in Majora earlier on this year. How was that?
Yeah, I'm still smiling, actually.
Yeah, you mentioned that. He just.
Yeah.
And that was a special moment for me. And, you know, it was also quite tough because the weekend after we had quite a big crash. And then the next GP we come through to try and pass Sean for 3rd in Sweden. And you know, I just wanted them so bad, and I think that cost me a little bit because I just was trying to get that feeling back.
It was horrible conditions that day, wasn't it? Overnight rain, and the track was already quite slick, but actually it rode pretty good, you know, considering, didn't it?
Yeah.
So, but first podium, something you've been working for. Were you expecting podiums this year, or was it kind of top 5s and maybe the odd sniff of a race finish inside the top 3?
Yeah, that's what I was aiming for. Is I wanted to get good starts, run up there with the guys, and you know, get some top 5s and finish top 10 in the championship. That was my goal. And you know, when I seen podium on that pit board, mate, the throttle was just pinned. I was so excited, and that's something that I'll never forget. So you know, I strive for that feeling again, and it's definitely something that I'm working for in the future.
Yeah, the shot here of you on the podium, I mean, that's when you get a chance to kind of sit back and reflect, and you know, I'm sure you're like, well, I was a kid, you know, riding 50s and 65s, and now all of a sudden here I am, I'm racing against the best riders in the world. Here you are again at the Motocross of Nations, and I mean, Australia's a long ways from, it's a long ways from anywhere, but, but you know, that's kind of what always, when I race this event, it would be like, wow, this is not what we planned. You know, I rode a motorcycle when I was a little kid, and now all of a sudden it seemed like overnight you're here.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's something special being an Australian is I can speak for all the Australians, Chad, everybody, you know. We don't grow up being world champion junior riders, you know. It's not something that we have at our doorstep. So we're sort of just hanging out, going to the beach, racing our bikes, and you know, and to be sitting here in front of this crowd and representing my country, you got to pinch yourself occasionally. It's something really special.
When you used to win races, Jeff, and get on podiums and things like that, what was the first thing you did? Was go grab a cold beer? Because this guy didn't do that, did you? Where did you go? What did you do?
Well, we jumped in the camper, drove back to Belgium, and started riding Lommel. So.
Didn't you jump in a lake before that?
Yes, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I'm a sucker for lakes, so we stopped at Lake Garda and hung out on the Monday, rode the cycle, done a recovery cycle around the lake, and that's a special thing about Europe. That's what I like. You can drive the camper, pull up, and enjoy. You can enjoy everything. It's a beautiful country here, and especially in summer. So,
what about the atmosphere out on track this morning? You were out in first practice, so the track was fresh, freshly watered, freshly groomed. You never raced it before, did you? No,
this is my first time, and man, last night we stayed in the camper and the crowd was going mental, like chainsaws and air horns all night long. It's I thought there'd be no one out here; they'd all be asleep still. But you know, the French crowd, they turn it up, and we're going to see that this weekend. So
they're not going to sleep until Monday morning.
No.
The sun will be up on Monday when they finally go to sleep.
Especially if the favourites get on the podium in any way, shape, or form.
Well,
but you kind of sense they'll be disappointed if it wasn't a win.
Well, I mean. Team France, their riders today, Fabre was fastest in the Open, MXoN was fastest in the MX2, and Paulin was it 1,000th? 1/1,000th thousandths off of being fastest qualifier also. So the interesting thing to me, when I look at the French team being the reigning champions, they're the home host team, is there a lot of distractions? And when I talked to Gauthier earlier today, he's like, it's business as usual. He's super excited to be here. And so I think that they're going to be a tough team to beat.
Yeah. Well, we're almost out of time with you, Todd, around 30, 40 seconds or so. Your gate pick, what, 17?
Yeah.
Happy with that from the ballot?
Yeah, that's like I say. If we got 17 in Germany, you know, I'd be pretty bummed. But I think that we can work with that here. It's a nice track. We can do some passes. So, but we're going to focus on the start, try and get a good start, and I think it's going to be a good day. So, 17, obviously we want to be a better gate pick, but it's not a bad one either.
Ask him. Do you know who had first gate pick? Ask him.
I don't know. I didn't see the ballot. No, it was GB.
Great Britain.
Oh,
he was, yeah.
Which, ironically, in France as well. The French are hating us right now. But, Todd, thanks for joining us here today. Enjoy your weekend.
And good luck.
And good luck
guys.
to Team Australia. Todd Waters, ladies and gentlemen. Right, before we go any further, let's take a look at some of the highlights from last year in Latvia. Of course, France did win there. Here's highlights from race 1. Nervous moments right before the start of the first race, MXGP and MX2, but when the gate dropped, it was a hard charge down the inside. On board here with Philip Bengtsson of Sweden, as Max Nagel, number 19 of Germany, and Alexander Tonkov duked it out for the foxhole shot. It was Tonkov of Russia who came out first, as Alex Martin of Puerto Rico fell. Ryan Dungey just ahead of the Swede, as Gauthier Paulin towards the end of the first lap made a pass on Nagel to go second. Tommy Searle made a good start on the MX2 category bike, but Tony Cairoli was soon working his way past the Swede of Bengtsson and going after the number 1 of Jeremy Van Horbeke. The Russian Tonkov, number 22, did well to fend off the challenge from number 13 Gauthier Paulin of France, as Dungey loomed dangerously in the background. A mistake from Van Horbeke allowed Cairoli to close in, but he couldn't capitalise on the mistake of the Belgian as they battled over 5th and 6th place. Eventually, Paulin found his way through into the lead for France as Cairoli scythed at the inside for Van Horbeke to go 5th, but it was short-lived because the following lap, the Italian was out and would not finish the race. Gauthier Paulin, meanwhile, stretched his lead over the rest of his rivals and looked supremely confident. A mistake from Tonkov allowed Dungey up into second position with a handful of laps to go. Max Nagel eventually found his way through to third on the number 19 machine for Germany, and Van Horbeke eventually got himself up to fourth on the number 1 Yamaha for Team Belgium. Alexander Tonkov had a great ride in 5th. Bengtsson came home in 6th on the number 88 for Sweden. A good ride for the Dutch rider, number 32, Glenn Koldenhoff, as he and Tommy Searle, number 17 for Great Britain, battled over 7th and 8th. Eventually, it was Koldenhoff who went through on the Brit. Ferrandis made his move on Jeremy Martin and eventually climbed up to 9th, which was a great ride for the Frenchman. But it was Gauthier Paulin who won from Dungey, and Nagel was third. A great ride for Bengtsson, who came home in 6th.
I'm not sure, but his bike started smoking, so he slowed up a little bit.
Welcome back then. That was highlights from race 1 last year, the 2014 FIM Monster Energy Motocross of Nations. A great event, Jeff, and a rider who experienced that for the first time is now with us, riding for Team USA, Jeremy Martin. Jeremy, welcome back to Europe. Second time on the team. How's your experience being in Paris, in France, this time around compared to Latvia?
Yeah, experience is good. It's a little bit different than Latvia, obviously, but enjoying it, taking it all in, and the fans are pretty gnarly. There's a lot more chainsaws, I think, than Latvia.
Was that the one thing that surprised you last year, the craziness of the crowd? Even though they didn't have the elevation there in Latvia, the fans were there, they did make some noise. But here it's non-stop, isn't it?
Yeah, no, here it's non-stop. We pulled in at probably 7 o'clock in the morning, and I heard like 2 or 3 chainsaws going strong, and I'm like, man, these guys are in for a rough day. They've been up all night.
I mean, it's loud right now, and there's nothing happening on the track. There's nothing happening at all. It's break time, and the people are going mad right now. It's crazy.
What is it like as a rider on the track?
You know, you can hear it for sure. I mean, when they're cheering at their fullest, you can hear it, but you know, like we're in that tunnel vision, you know. I mean, we're just so focused on what's going on, so some of it gets tuned out, but you can tell which chainsaw's tuned in pretty perfectly, because that one sticks out when it's going.
Got the RPMs are high. So, I mean, you've had the one practice on the track. By the response of the crowd, you know where MXoN is at when he's riding, right?
Yeah.
He's riding for France, defending team, host country. The fans were absolutely mad.
Yes, the fans are going nuts for Team France, which is good, which is how it should be. It's their hometown race, and you know, there's a lot of people out here to support them, and a lot of people just to see everyone battle and have a good time and watch us race.
Last year was a sand track. This year, obviously not. You walked the track, I guess, on Thursday or Friday. What were your first impressions when you saw it, and then how does it ride? You know, how is the expectation? Does it match up to what you expected?
Yeah, it's what I expected. Last year was a little more sandy, a little softer. This year it kind of reminds me of riding at home in Millville a little bit. I mean, you got people up on the hills, you got the track going down some steep downhills and stuff like that. So it reminds me a little bit of riding at home at Millville, but it's good. The track's a little bit like it's got a slick surface. It kind of reminds me of a circuit we have on the U.S. called Washougal.
Sorry, I'm just laughing here because we're trying to listen to you, and all we've got in our headset is chainsaws, air horns, crowd going crazy. But Jeff and I, we were standing up here during the MX Open practice, weren't we? And every time Roman came around, it was loud all the way. Then it would go quiet, and then he'd jump back into view, and it'd be like loud again. Then he'd set the fastest lap. And for Saturday, that's already a pretty decent atmosphere. What about you, though, Jeremy? Had a pretty decent season, has to be said.
Yeah, Supercross was okay, and then in the outdoors, you know, it was just a war with Marvin, and it was good. It came down to the wire. It came down to the last race, and I think we put on a good show for the fans, and I enjoyed every bit of it. It made me stronger.
Tell me, this being your second year at this event, you had a crash last year, hurt your foot, so you really struggled through it. I wouldn't imagine that you look back on that event with a lot of good memories, but what experience do you bring to the table now that you've been here for once? You're a 2-time champion in America. You know, that could help you propel Team USA to the win.
I think I'm more comfortable. I know the schedule a little bit more. I know what the fans are like, and I just know what it's like to have the whole Team USA over here, and you know, I just got a great crew of people to help me, and I think, you know, I just with every year I get a little more mature, and every year that if I get on the Team USA team, it's just going to get a little easier for me.
We had, I think we got a clip of the crash from the qualifying race last year, actually, because in terms of Motocross Nations, you want everything to go well, don't you? In terms of an American team coming over here, we know the win streaks, you know, 13 and then a defeat, then a couple of wins and a defeat. Then there was a period of time when they weren't part of the team race at all. And then when they won, there was like another 7-win streak that took them.
7, right?
Yeah, 7 in a row that took them up to Saint-Jean-d'Angely when Ryan was on the team, Villapoto, Dungey, and I think it was Blake, wasn't it? But it's been a little bit rough in that respect since then. So as a rider coming in for the first time, you're all hyped up, lots of energy, and you want to kind of go, you know what, we want to do it for the USA. And, you know, to get a crash in qualifying like last year and break that foot, what goes through your mind at that point?
You know, I wasn't too excited about crashing there in qualifying. My brother got a front row seat to it. He said, I'd never seen anyone crash so hard. But, you know,
Yeah, no, the second, I was going to say, we had the qualifying clip just a moment ago, I think. unless it was on and we weren't paying attention. But we do have it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a gnarly crash, wasn't it?
Yeah,
now that's Cooper going down this morning, just losing the front.
Yeah.
But he's all right. That was just a simple fall. But yeah, so the crash last year.
Yeah, the crash was tough. You know, it's Saturday qualifying. Obviously, you know, you got your practice, and then you just want to get a good qualifying position for a good gate pick. And unfortunately, I went down, and I had to sleep all night with a broken foot and get up the next day and represent my Team USA and do the best I could and make everyone proud back home.
How was the track last year in Latvia? Because, you know, again, flat to look at, but after practice, after the first day's racing, pretty gnarly. Right, here's the crash from last year.
Look on the right side of your screen right here.
And then we have, I mean, they look nasty anyway. We have the slow-mo of it.
So, talk to me about the pressure that could be perceived for this event, and how, as a rider, you would, you know, brush that off and go out and do your job like you know how to do.
You know, I can see where people say, you know, there's a lot of pressure on this event because everyone in the world's watching it.
Yeah.
You know, you got the U.S., you got France, you got Belgium, you got everyone watching it. And, you know, we got 3 guys from each country representing their, you know, trying to make everyone back home proud. And, you know, for me, I work very hard, and I've got a great team. So I know I did everything I could possibly do to be ready for this event. So it takes a lot of the stress off of it. Now it's just time to go out and execute. I've got great people. I've got Roger DeCoster. I've got a great team with Cooper Webb and Justin Barsha. And now it's just time to go out and do what we do every day during the week.
And just real quick, we've got about a minute left. How is the atmosphere in the team at the moment? You've all had practice, all comparing notes?
Yeah, the atmosphere is good. I mean, practice is practice. It was 40 minutes. I think we all made some adjustments on the suspension. It's a bit different. So now we're ready to go for the qualifying.
Hey, so I noticed that some of you guys were riding 2 bikes in practice, because 2 of the motos are pretty much going to be 40 minutes apart. So are you guys going to use a 2-bike strategy?
Yeah, we'll do the 2-bike strategy. It's just more simple for the mechanic. He doesn't have to rush as much. The bikes will both be prepped. It'll just
Bike's
be more
like
simple.
a tear-off. It is. Okay, we're done with that one.
Yeah,
Works bike, done with that one. Give me another one, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's really interesting, because I've really, you know, that's something that, you know, we never were able to do. But I think with the engines and the stress that's put on those 250s and the reliability, it's certainly a good choice to go out and have a second bike in this situation. So.
Yeah, for sure. Nowadays the bikes they're all so close. You know, I mean, we got dynos. You guys, you know, people with the suspension, they know what they're doing. So, like I said, it just makes the life easier on the race mechanic.
All right. Well, look, Jeremy Martin, Team USA, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Good luck. Good luck to you and Team USA. Jeremy Martin, folks. Right, as he disappears in just a moment, and we wait for our next guest, which is Max Anstie, let's take a look at some of the race highlights from race 2, the MXoN in 2014 in Latvia. Antonio Cairoli would line up at the start of race 2, but he hit the gate as he tried to go too early. The Italian was left right at the back as they charged down into turn 1. Meanwhile, it was the number 15, the Frenchman of Stephen Frossard, who just out-dragged Tommy Searle of Great Britain, and he picked up the foxhole shot. On board here with Eli Tomac. And here with Kevin Strybos, who made a great start and soon went to work on everybody else. Fredrik Noren of Sweden just ahead of him, number 90. But the battle was between Team France and Team Belgium. Strybos going around the outside of Frossard to take the lead. Third and fourth, number 17 and 18, Tommy Searle and his teammate, Dean Wilson, were line astern for the first few laps. Until Wilson found a way through, got himself into third and went after Frossard. Tomac, who didn't make the best of starts, was fighting his way through the field. This pass here on the number 2 of Lieber got him up into 7th place, as his teammate, number 5, Jeremy Martin, riding with a broken foot, carved his way past the number 12 of Matt Moss to get himself into 13th. 33, Mark Deruva, and 14, Dylan Ferrandis, were fighting their way through traffic as well. And they were in 10th and 11th at this stage of the race. Glenn Coldenhoff, 32, was having a good hard charge through the field as well. And eventually he came home in 8th. Tano Leok, riding his 14th Motocross of Nations, thought he'd done a great job of holding off the number 6 of Eli Tomac. But with 2 laps to go, the American eventually got himself into 6th. Wilson looked good in 3rd. Tommy Searle, equally impressive in 4th. As Frossard couldn't do anything about the number 3 of Kevin Strybos. Kevin Strybos it was who took the flag to win race 2. Frossard was 2nd, Wilson was 3rd, Searle 4th, and Norrant was 5th. Welcome back to Ernée in France. It's the 69th edition of the Monster Energy FIM Motocross of Nations. We're live with our studio show today. Myself, Paul Malin, Jeff Emig. We've already spoke to Todd Waters from Team Australia, and just a moment ago, Jeremy Martin from Team USA. But a very patriotic Max Anstie has joined us now for Team Great Britain. And look at those glasses. You look like Kanye West.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's exactly the look I'm going for.
Well, there is loads of British fans here that's a very popular item for them to be wearing too.
But you know what I like about them? We don't get sun in England. That's why they don't have tinted lens.
Yeah, that's it. I can't see very much out of them, but you know,
it blocks the rain, right?
That's it. That's it.
Good. Man, it's good to see that you're so loose and
it's awesome.
Fun right now.
It's awesome to be here. You know, it's literally. I was just up there doing the monster signing and. Oh man, it is unreal, the atmosphere and the buzz that's out there, and it's only Saturday, you know. I think tomorrow's going to be even bigger and better, and it's great. It's great fun. Even just the drive here, people hanging out the windows with chainsaws and things like that. So,
and that was Thursday when you left.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
And why is it that every year at the Nations, it seemed like there's a British dude that has to take his clothes off and start running around?
Yeah, that wasn't Max though.
That wasn't you.
That wasn't
me.
No.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. The streakers will probably come out in a bit. You know, it's you know, the boys love it, don't they?
Actually, there was a pretty interesting bunch of British fans walking around this morning during the MXGP free practice. They've got the black Lycra suits on with the skeleton bones all over the top, and they've got their sort of like dangly bits kind of hanging out as part of the costume. It was like insane, and it caught a lot of people's eyes, put it that way.
No, it's insane, yeah, definitely.
So the team this year, Great Britain, I think you guys look really good on paper. We've watched all 3 of you ride the very first practice. I think you guys look great on the on the track and on the bikes. What's the feeling among the 3 of you?
Honestly, I think it's going to be good. I think we know what we're doing. We're here to go racing. Although it's the Motocross of Nations, when the goggles go on, it's another race. We've done a million of them, and we know what we're doing. I just think we're going to go out there and perform our best and see where we end up. I think that's all we can do. You know, there's a lot of variables out there with, you still need a little bit of luck and this and that, but track's awesome. I don't think the times are going to be too different from 250 to 450, so we'll see how that runs tomorrow.
Well, interesting point there, because MXGP free practice went out first thing this morning, 1:47.7. That was Ken de Dijker of Belgium, and that was the closest session, wasn't it? 1/1000th of a second back was Gauthier Paulin, also on a 47.7, and then Barsha. And then you went out in MX2, and it was Muscan on a 47.4 on his 250, whereas you were third with a 49.3, so just a little bit slower than the top 2 guys in that session, which were Muscan and Jeremy.
Yeah, I genuinely thought the track was going to get slower, because I watched Barsha actually do some times at the end of his session, and looked like he had a really good lap going and the times were slower, but then I don't know whether it dried out, because for us, I went out and put a time in early, felt good, and then I was just trying a few different things, and then actually the times seemed to come a little bit later on. Obviously with 40 minutes we had a lot of time, and I had a few things that I wanted to try, so It was good, but at the end of the day, that doesn't really matter because we got peg 1. So we've got a good gate pick, and that makes a big difference here.
You've got Dean Wilson and Sean Simpson riding with you. Have you guys had a chance to ride together, to work together as a team in any way? Or, I mean,
to be honest, it's been difficult because obviously Dean's based in the States, but at Glen Helen, you know, we sort of did our own sort of thing together, but obviously we were just chilling out and we know each other a little bit. So it's awesome. We had a good track walk yesterday, but to be honest, we don't need to ride together. We all know what we're doing, and I know Dean and Sean are out there to go really fast, and we all know what we're at, and I think at the end of the day the goal is just to focus on yourself and perform as well as you can, and then the results together will show where we are.
It's your second Motocross of Nations, first one at Lommel. Are you feeling in better shape coming into this one now? Obviously, it's the second one as well, so you know what to expect. The first one can be a bit intimidating, can't it? Especially at Lommel. But in terms of the track, the crowd, the atmosphere, the results that you've had this year, you know, with your GP wins and everything else, are you feeling better prepared now? Yeah,
definitely. It was a goal of mine coming into here to treat it like another GP in a way. And I was talking to some of my friends and even my girlfriend, and I said, look, I really want to take the time to actually enjoy the weekend. Because the weekends that I've done well at, I feel very relaxed. Whereas I remember at Lommel, my God, that weekend went like a blur. I don't even remember it. I was just rushing around doing this, doing that, da-da-da-da. But at the end of the day now, it's been nice. Obviously, we have to do a lot of media things and stuff like that, but it's nice to just take all that in and enjoy the time when you're out on the track. It's still crazy. You go out on track and you're like, oh, you know, it's still pretty cool. You hear Musquin's obviously done a good time or something in the MX2, and you're like, and it's just absolutely crazy. And it's still, it adds that extra level. It's not a GP. You know, we can be anywhere in the world, and it's like normal stuff. 18 times we do it. It's all the same. But here, although it's the same, it's not. You're like, oh, this is kind of cool. I got a cool helmet.
I mean, look here behind us. Hey, so tell me about the draw. So they do a draw on Saturday morning. The team that picks number 1 has first gate pick. This year, Great Britain has first gate pick. And I was with Paul, like, hey, how did the draw go? Who got first gate pick? And
in Roggenburg.
We all know. I know how that went down. It was a great day for one. Not a good day for me, but that's what I think is so interesting about this race is the difference between winning and not winning. And when you know that, and I think that the team that you guys have put together this year, I think that you guys should have that sort of confidence. I think that you guys should be thinking in that way because I think that you're capable of it.
No, it's well, I think at Lommel we were like 28 or something like that way on the outside. I mean, here the start is, you know, relatively fair, but still, you know, gate 1 obviously is better. I'm not going to lie, gate one is good. So yeah, I'm just going to put myself in a good position, which obviously my life is slightly easier now by doing that. Can do my own thing. It's just like, you know, like I've won the qualifying race or something. You know, so we're just going to go and do our thing and see what position we put ourselves in for tomorrow.
All right. Well, in terms of our time with you, Max, we're done here, I'm afraid. But thanks for joining us here. Max Anstie, riding for Team Great Britain, of course. And in the qualifying races, they're going to be going to the line first. And they are immediately following the studio show here today. So the first qualifying race at 2:30 live on MXGPTV.com. So, Max, while you disappear, let's take a look at some of the highlights from last year. Here's the third and final race of Latvia.
Right.
Coming into the final race, 4 teams stood a chance of lifting the Chamberlain Trophy. France, Great Britain, Belgium and USA. France leading the way on 21 points. When the gate dropped, all eyes were on the gates up the inside. Chad Reed fell as he was out-dragged down the start straight, but it was Dennis Ulrich of Germany who grabbed the foxhole shot. Eli Tomac went down as he came round the first turn. Chad Reed on the deck. Van Hoorbeek was in second position. Paulin was in third as they went after the German. But it wasn't long before the number 1 and the number 13 were up into first and second position. Tonkov following them through as well, of Russia in third. There's Kevin Strybos battling from a poor start. Was finding it tough coming through traffic, just like Eli Tomac. Matt Moss, the second of the Australians, went down. So too did Kevin Strybos, and he would remount in 29th place. Number 15 of Frossard, the teammate to Paulin, was in a battle with Nagel as Kevin Strybos started climbing his way back through the field. Wasn't long though before Gauthier Paulin dived down the inside of number 1, Jeremy Van Horbeek, to lead once again for France. Strybos made this pass on Ryan Dungey as he charged through. That put the Belgian up into 20th place. Philip Bengtsson had this big crash from 8th, and that was game over for the Swede. After what had been a good start to the campaign, Nagel also went out, and he fell from 4th position, would eventually get back to 12th. But the man on a mission was the number 6 of Eli Tomac, carving his way through the field. He eventually caught the number 18 of Wilson. That put him up into 6th position, but it wasn't for the lack of trying for Wilson to try and keep the American at bay. Carved down the inside of Frossard as well. Eventually got himself up past the number 22. As 16, Sean Simpson went out with a broken chain. They were still on the podium at this point of the race though, but suddenly, from out of nowhere, Ryan Dungey, the American, number 4, started putting in a series of passes. This one here on Matis Karo of Latvia. Eventually, Dungey got himself up into 11th. A last-ditch effort from Wilson got him up into 5th place, but it was Paulin who won the race. It was Team France who won the Nations Trophy. They won on 17 points. Belgium was 2nd, and the USA was 3rd. Highlights then from Latvia. Of course, France arrive here as the defending champions. We're in Erne, and our studio show is live, in case you hadn't noticed, and it's the 69th edition of the Monster Energy FIM Monster Energy Motocross of Nations. Tim Geiser, the newly crowned world champion, is with us now. And before we start talking to Tim, let's look at him doing what he does best. Here he is winning the world championship a week ago in Glen Helen. Coming into the second race, the gap between Gajser and Jonas was now out to 22 points. All Gajser needed to do was just finish the race. But it was Jesse Nelson who grabbed the foxhole shot in the final MX2 race of the 2015 season. Behind him, Thomas Covington and Jeremy Seawer. Max Anstie didn't make too bad a start, but then he slipped out going up the first hill and left himself with a lot of work to do. Meanwhile, Covington and Aldridge took each other out at the bottom of the first hill. They too would have a lot of work to do. But up front, once again, it was the 2 KTMs of Nelson and McElrath who were setting the pace. McElrath passing Gajser here at the end of the first lap to get himself into 2nd behind his teammate. And once again, all eyes on the 2 KTMs of Nelson and McElrath. Gajser was circulating in 3rd pretty comfortably until he made that mistake up the side of Mount St. Helens, allowing Guillaume to take 3rd place, which is where the Swiss rider would go on to finish at the drop of the checkered flag. But Paul Jonas, after starting in 5th, found Jeremy Seawer going past him. Seawer went into 5th, Jonas then dropped down to 6th, just ahead of Harry Koulas. But it was Jesse Nelson who took the final checkered flag of the year in MX2 ahead of his teammate Shane McElrath. But Tim Geiser crossed the line in 4th. and with it took the title in MX2. And it was Honda's first victory since Alessandro Puzar in 1995. 4 race wins, 5 Grand Prix victories. Tim Geiser is a 2015 FIM MX2 Motocross World Champion. But on the podium though, it was Jesse Nelson and Shane McElrath, Valentin Guillot third, finishing on the podium in his final ever MX2 Grand Prix. But it was all about Tim Geiser today though, the Slovenian, picking up the crown at the final round. Tim Geiser, world champion, MX2 2015. Is that the first time you've seen that?
Yeah, actually first time. I've never seen before.
Give you some goosebumps?
Yeah, it was so emotional, you know, when I was watching that film. So yeah, I'm really happy, you know. Like I said many times, we didn't expect that that we will do that in second full season, you know, with the Honda. Also, Honda, you know, came after 20 years with full factory support from HRC, and you know, we was just building the bike. You know, the bike was not the best, but yeah, they make just amazing job. You know, the bike was getting better and better every race, and yeah, I'm just so pleased with that.
Has it sunk in yet? Because you would have left California, had what, 1 or 2 days at home to think about what happened in Glen Helen, or have you just been focused on this race coming in here before you've had chance to digest it all?
Yeah, actually we fly directly from Glen Helen to Malpensa to Italy. I was not home yet, so we was testing in Wednesday, 450, had bad crash, really bad crash
on a
450. Yeah, but thankfully nothing is just a little bit hurting, but nothing broken. So
what was it, a scrub went wrong?
No, actually just bike stole on the jump and went toward the handlebar and bike eats me, so it was nasty. But anyway, yeah, I'm just so thankful that I can be here and riding in front of such amazing you know, fans, and it's just amazing.
Obviously, first world title for Slovenia, the first one for Honda in a long time since, as we said in the commentary there, 95, Alessandro Puzar. The first on a 4-stroke, so the first 250 world champion. And Jeff, Shift had a world champion as well.
Yeah, we were very proud of our guy here. We did a deal with Tim last year with Shift MX, put him in pant jersey gloves, and he's represented the company well.
He was shifted
It was
this year.
I mean, the way that the competition is, you know, Tim's just turned 19, thinking, okay, so for 2015, it'd be good if he can get his feet wet, get a win or two,
Exactly.
and that would be amazing, right?
Yeah.
So he gets his first win in Trentino, which it was so, I mean, the photos and the video, to see your emotion and to have the response of the crowd, that was outstanding. A very up and down season, a very competitive season, where there were races that you didn't even score points.
Exactly.
But you stayed in it, you had that belief, and then at the end, he brings Shift its first world title ever. So we're very, very proud of you, and we're definitely proud to support you.
Thank you.
How was Glen Helen as an experience for you, going into that final round with, what was 18 points originally, I think, or yeah?
Yeah, it was 18, you know. I never been in US before, so it was just great experience, you know. Also, we went a little bit in LA, Hollywood, and you know, we was also in the Fox company, and Yoshimura, we was a little bit sponsor and that stuff, but you know, the track was just amazing. You know, we are not used to race on the tracks like that here in Europe. You can see here is pretty tight, you know, but there was, you know, the start straight was just amazing. And
that's a big track.
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
a big start, a big first turn, big hills, big jumps.
Like everything was big, yeah. So it was completely different compared to what we race over here. But like I said, it was great experience, and you know, I'm just so happy to be there, and yeah, really happy with it.
So we almost out of time, by the way.
We had some time to, you know, spend together after the world title, and you had a chance to reflect on your life up to this point. Yeah. So really had to be quite the experience to lock down that title for you and your family.
Yeah, it was a long way to came here, you know. My father, my family sacrificed everything just to keep me, you know, in motocross, and yeah, we did it. We won our first title, and yeah, it's been just so much, you know, to me and to all my family. And, you know, like I said, and wrote on the Instagram also, it's not just my title, it's title from everyone around me, you know. Also the team, you know, who picked me and give me the chance, also the Honda, you know, that I can ride the Honda, and, you know, just so thankful for everything.
All right, well, look, Tim Geiser, thanks for joining us up here.
Thank you very much.
All the best this weekend. We are out of time. Of course, we are live. Great atmosphere here in Erne. The qualifying races are just around the corner, literally in about 15 minutes' time. But thanks to all our guests. Thanks to Jeff. Thanks for Tim, Max Anstie, Jeremy Martin, of course, Todd Watts as well. We are out of time. It's been a memorable season in MXGP. Let's hope tomorrow and this weekend is exactly the same. I'm sure it will. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next year. Bye.